5-year-old Moroccan boy who was trapped in a well for 4 days has died, despite painstaking efforts to rescue him. His funeral is due to start any minute from now. For an update on this, we're joined by Mosa'ab Elshamy, Associated Press journalist. He's joining us from Chef Chawan in Morocco. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to us this afternoon. If you could just start by setting the scene for us.
Yes, hello. I am in the town of Iran, where 5-year-old Rayan is due to be buried today, as you mentioned. This is the mountainous village of a population of 500, a very remote town, almost 300 kilometers from the capital, Rabat. Over the last week, this town has been in the spotlight of the whole world, perhaps, as people held their breath, hoping for the rescue mission to be successful. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and Rayan's body was retrieved on Saturday. Today, he is due to be buried. Behind me, you can see that some people are heading to where the graveyard of his family is, and after that there will be an area where people will give their condolences. This has become a global story indeed, and in Morocco there will be officials attending this funeral. But the situation is very somber. People are very upset, and it has affected everyone in so many ways. But today is perhaps a way for people to have a final look at this 5-year-old who they hoped would miraculously emerge out of that well. People are hoping that this will bring the town together and heal some of those wounds that have been caused by the anxiety and tension of this week.
Indeed, we've been reporting on it extensively on a channel, and it was with heavy hearts that we received the news of his passing yesterday. Morocco is an hour behind South Africa in terms of time, so you guys are heading to 12 noon today. Is there a particular reason why he's being buried at this time?
Not necessarily. What did happen was that after he was retrieved from the well on Saturday night, he was transferred to Rabat, and his family was transferred there. So by the time the arrangements have been made and they returned to the village last night, and with the current preparations ongoing of digging the grave and preparing the area where people will be performing the prayers and the tradition of the burial, this has caused such delay. Perhaps it is a little unusual for an Islamic tradition to postpone a burial for over 24 hours. But considering the story and considering this, it's not very surprising. But it's still a little unclear, considering that also officials will be attending, and as I mentioned, the town is quite remote. But there is a large presence from media organizations, from people who had come from nearby towns, although it's a lot emptier than it had been over the last week, where thousands of people had come from all over Morocco to watch and offer support and wait. It is expected that people will also try to join, despite the roadblocks and the limited access to the road that has been established to prevent a large gathering, perhaps.
Just in terms of the terrain, you mentioned that that is a village of some 500 people. That this happened, especially when the father was digging this well. What does it say about access to water for people of that village? Are we likely, to see maybe not a similar incident, but seeing accidents happen because people have to dig wells to get access to water?
Absolutely, and this is perhaps the untold story about this tragedy. It's not just a child who fell into an accident. This is an area that relies heavily on wells due to the shortage in water, due to the lack of rainfall. And over the last few years, people have been building these informal wells to irrigate the lands in which they plant cannabis, which is the only option for the farmers in this Rif region in North Morocco. So it is complicated, and indeed the context behind this child falling in that well gives us an idea of the hardship that people live here, the extreme conditions and the extreme range of temperatures, from snow to very high to very hot weather in summer, to also, of course, the lack of water that seems to exasperate every year.
Our heartfelt condolences to the family. Thank you very much for availing yourself and for that report. Mosa'ab Elshamy is a journalist with Associated Press.